Hello, everybody.
Howdy. What the hell happened to your hair? Did you get too close to the weed whacker or something today?
What happened to yours? You stick your finger in a light socket?
Yeah.
We appreciate Mikey helping with this video after a long, hard, hot day in the sun at work.
Today.
We were sent these videos. There's actually 6 parts, and I'll end up putting them on our second channel in their entirety. So I want to thank Faye very much for sending us these leaked videos. Appreciate it. And funny thing, when they sent me the videos and I went to listen to them, it fried my speakers on my computer.
I guess Jehovah didn't want you to hear these, did he?
So then I got my headphones, so, because you can plug them in and listen to it still, even without speakers, and they weren't working.
Well, there you go. Jehovah's at work.
Trying to shut us up, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's never going to happen.
My
goodness.
Like all of you activists know, activism is never done.
It's never done.
Never done. Ow is something.
What we've got here is a 2016 budget meeting.
Accounting meeting. I know
Yeah.
they're really boring, and so I just got a couple of little clips.
Yes, because Kim and I watched a little bit of this, and we found it interesting that when you realize that it was May 2015 that, governing body member Lett said, at this time we have more going out than we have coming in. So I guess we're going to take a little trip down memory lane to see whether, things for the Watchtower and Babel Crap Society has changed any at all. I mean, really, since Jehovah is blessing the expansion work so much, surely it got better. I mean, come on. I mean, you're talking about Jehovah, the Almighty God of the universe. Surely he's fixed this problem with there's more money going out than there is coming in.
Well, if he gave them sand to build that kingdom hall on those islands, of course he's giving them
sand, honey. Now look. Now I don't mean to pick on your house cleaning skills, but we live here in the desert. You can dust in one day and get a dust devil, and it won't even look like you've dusted. So come on, sand out of a storm? Come on, we're just not buying that no more.
Exactly. But what's interesting, for those of you who've seen the May 2015 broadcast where Lett was saying we have more money going out than what we come in, they were talking about some projects that they were going to be doing. And we're not going to bore everybody with that clip because we've all seen it. Now, a couple of months after that broadcast, they mentioned that thank you so much for your generous donations because they had a lot coming in. So what's interesting about this clip we have here is they talk about these things. So did things get any better? Because this is the 2016 accounting, which would have been going into the 2016 service year. So I'm thinking about September, October of 2016.
Yeah, and when you hear the clip we're going to play, listen to how optimistic they sound.
Well,
it's sad. It's really sad.
It's interesting because they're admitting they have financial problems.
Yeah.
And, they've got this, the governing body has this great plan. The governing body's going to save them on their financial, problem with, their plan.
Yes.
So let's listen to the clip.
For the organization's finances to get back on track, a number of initiatives that were begun in September will need to play out over the next 4 or 5 years. So it makes us think of what Paul wrote to the Corinthian congregation in his second letter on the subject of donations in chapter 8 and verse 11. So now also complete what you started to do, so that your readiness to act may be completed according to the means you have available. So we thank you, brothers, for jumping right on the direction that was provided and getting things set in motion. But all of us need to think about this as a more long-term set of adjustments and initiatives. There needs to be an ongoing flow of information between the branches and headquarters to see how Jehovah blesses these various initiatives and how all of them work together, since there's really a number of moving pieces. Where are we right now, you may be wondering? Well, it's probably too soon to tell too much yet, but we can update you on what we've seen thus far. Many branches have begun to adjust their staffing levels. Some have postponed certain purchases. And, of course, all of the construction projects that were put on hold or canceled have been wound down or in the process of being wound down very quickly. We've received the reports from September, and donations seem to have returned to their normal levels in the previous year. As the governing body recently announced to Bethel families, in the months of July and August, there was an increase of donations in response to the May broadcast of around $30 million. That's showing real appreciation and support on the part of our brothers worldwide, and they're to be commended for that. However, until the general donation picture changes substantially, the organization will need to hold to the course set by the governing body with respects to spending, not only this year, but in the coming years as well. The real estate sales around the world have been accelerated to the extent possible. We have close to 3,000 properties scattered around the globe that need to be sold, many of them smaller properties of limited value, but in total, there represents a substantial amount of future income from the sale of those properties. That's especially true with the remaining properties here in Brooklyn. We appreciate that you brothers have taken a look at your potential sale, purchases of equipment and vehicles, and have canceled some of those and postponed others. In our total picture, that doesn't represent too big of an impact, but it certainly moves us in the right direction, and we appreciate that. Brother Moritz explained that in September, the governing body set up a $25 million contingency for new spending for new initiatives for the 2016 service year. We've pretty much spent that already, as we've trying to catch up with budget items and information flows that still need to be tightened up. So for the rest of this year, unless the financial picture changes from where it sits right now, we'll have to be cautious about starting many new initiatives. As you can see from this quick summary, good progress has been made, and the governing body is very pleased with the support that's being provided. But we're going to need to stay vigilant, not only throughout the rest of this service year, but likely in the next 2 or 3 years to come. Staffing reductions are only one part of the adjustments that are needed. We also need to balance our overall expenses with what the brothers are able to donate. So operating expenses will likely continue to be reduced in the next 3 or 4 years.
Now, I found it interesting that they're talking about having a 4 to 5 year plan, which brings them to 2021. That's only a couple of years from now, guys. Have we seen more Kingdom Halls being built, or have we been able to record more Kingdom Halls closing?
Well, Mikey, let's just take a look at what's happened since 2016, okay?
Okay.
Now, we put up a clip of video the other night from the Unreluctant, I believe, where he showed that they downsized the UK branch. It originally was going to be a huge printery, and if I remember right, 14 residence buildings. It was downsized to 0 printery and maybe 5 or 6 resident homes, if I remember right.
Hey, Jehovah's Witnesses, you're still not donating enough. Jeez. Wow.
Open your wallets and give them more money.
And the thing is, too, is that even more recently, we know that A&E did a special with Romy and that child sexual abuse. You know, that's not going to, you know, do away with Watchtower's black eye. If anything else, it's going to make the other eye black. We know that Leah Remini is going to do a special pointing to Watchtower's child sexual abuse. So there's a couple more, you know, good uppercuts right to the chin. You know, and with all of this, how many more lawsuits are they going to be facing?
Well, that's what I have to ask. How much have they had to pay out in child abuse lawsuits? How come they're not telling the accounting and treasury departments, you know, how much? At least they haven't up till now. I've only listened to a few parts. I haven't listened to all of it.
Yes.
But that's what I would like to know. How much have they really paid out? Now, what's interesting in that May broadcast, and then, you know, like I said, a few months later, they had mentioned that they had gotten a lot more donations. Well, in this clip, they tell you that they got $30 million more after, you know, and thank you for your generosity, but it's still not enough.
Well, that was a blessing from Jehovah. But here's the problem. He admits they've already gone through that.
It's already gone.
Yeah, and you're only talking, what, a year maybe? My goodness.
Another interesting thing in this clip is they told everybody that they had nearly 3,000 properties that needs to be sold. And we know property's been going up for sale all over the world with Watchtower. And then he also mentions, you know, their properties they still had there in Brooklyn. Because we know they own several of those, I think they're called brownstone homes.
They're like I'd have to go back and refresh my memory.
They're like a brick 2-story, 3-story, you know, building. They own several of those. They own several apartment buildings, you know, so, you know, they do have more. And he's talking about, yeah, this will generate some more income.
They did have more. Because you got to remember, this is 2016.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I found it interesting, though, too, that he even admits that some of the properties that they're going to sell are not worth much. Well, I got to ask, that property in Florida that had the Kingdom Hall on it, that you had to bulldoze the Kingdom Hall down just to sell the property? Because nobody wants a building without windows. Well, that's something else. Look at what they put up recently for Kingdom Halls. Because now, you and I have been on Kingdom Hall projects before, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
And when you and I were J-Dubs and we went on a Kingdom Hall project, that Kingdom Hall was large enough to put 200 chairs in, or at least have a maximum capacity of 200. Now the maximum capacity is what, 70?
Yeah.
This is not Jehovah blessing your organization, Watchtower.
Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong, and I may be wrong, you know, sometimes I am wrong.
Just asking me. And I'll say, nope, honey, you were exactly right. I didn't comprehend you. I was the one that was really wrong.
You're funny.
Yes, dear.
They mentioned this $25 million contingency fund that the governing body had set up. Now, didn't Eric, Son of Thunder, do a video about that and several others? And that was supposed to be a $25 million fund for relief fund?
Some relief work, yeah.
Or something like that?
I'd have to go back and watch the videos.
Maybe somebody can do a video on that.
Yeah.
But they mentioned this $25 million contingency fund, which they don't go into details of what exactly it's for. So that's why I'm wondering if it's like a child abuse, you know, backup plan.
Well, see, and here, something else that's happened in the meantime. The Australian Royal Commission. You know, we all heard Jeffrey Jackson say that they would look into, you know, contributing money to that fund to pay
redress scheme.
The redress scheme, exactly. And with what we just posted a day or two ago on our YouTube channel from Faye also, right?
I think that one was from Faye. Either Faye or the Unreluctant, one or the other.
Yeah, one of the other two. So pardon us for not remembering who, guys. We've apologize. Yeah.
We've slept since then.
But the thing is that when you looked at that news report that was being shown from Australia.
Jehovah's Witnesses was the first one mentioned for not signing.
Yeah, and they're still part of the 20% that hasn't contributed to this redress scheme, which really, no matter what Watchtower does, it's going to make them look guilty. Either way, it's going to make them look bad
pathetic.
Because if you don't contribute, then it shows you don't give a shit about the victims, Watchtower. That's what that tells me. And then if you do contribute, well, you're as guilty as hell. Either way, you're done.
Yeah.
Either way, with this Australian Royal Commission, you're done, because if you do not donate to that, then it shows you don't give a crap about the victims. But see, we already know that. I mean, you're not telling us anything, Watchtower, that we don't already know and that we already haven't concluded ourselves. I mean, my goodness, just go watch that A&E special. How many times did Romy go to the elders and she just got, kicked to the curbside? She went to the elders thinking that, through the elders, Jehovah's going to help me. There was no Jehovah helping you guys.
Also, I was trying to find the clip in Jeffrey Jackson's testimony on the Australian Royal Commission. I mean, you can ask Mike. I spent 2 hours last night listening, and by about 2 hours, that's...
Well, that actually worked out for my benefit.
Why is that?
Because I got to take a nap.
I'm glad that worked out for you. So I'm still hoping to find that clip, because I know it was somewhere in his testimony. I know I didn't dream it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, unless it's the Mandela effect, I'm starting to wonder, if that Mandela effect isn't real. Either that or my memory.
You just convince yourself of that, dude.
No, I mean, there really is some weird things about that. Now, got a few more things to mention. We did a video last year. I believe it's on our second channel when they had shut us down last September, October, where we were talking about them selling off equipment from the LDC and RBC.
Yeah.
It was equipment, it was cars, it was buses, it was trucks. There was an Australian, website that was selling a bunch of stuff off. They're selling assembly halls.
And, just think back to some of the videos that Kim and I have done. I've even stated publicly that this organization is strapped for cash. And you're hearing it in this budget meeting. That's why they're having to sell. That's why they're having to, cut corners. We thank you, brothers, for not buying your cars right now, or however this monkey's ass, stated it. But they're strapped for cash. They have no operating capital. That's why they couldn't put the printery up in Temple's Farms. That's why they couldn't build all of those dorms, because they have no cash to work with. And I just about, I want to say goddamn guarantee you. I just about goddamn guarantee you that there's no financial institution that's going to loan them any money, because everybody knows that their neck is in the news over this child sexual abuse problem they're facing. Why would any money lending institute lend a bunch of monkeys' asses like this money when they know that they're going to be having thousands and thousands court litigations over child sexual abuse? And guess what, Watchtower? You're losing most of those. You're losing. You know what, Watchtower? You have a better chance. You have a better chance of going to Las Vegas and gambling that money away and getting that money through illegal means to pay all of these child abuse victims off than you have your faithful and discreet slave or your faithful rank and file to continuously donate. Because sooner or later, the rank and file is going to get sick and tired because they're already tapped out.
Well, especially, when most of us were janitors,
Yeah,
and
well,
no offense to janitors, because we were janitors.
No, we made a good living. It's hard work, it's honest work, but
but no extra to give to them.
Yeah, but the way Watchtower presented it, hey, you're going to get rich. And that's not the way it is. It's just not the way it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got another clip to look at?
Actually, no.
Okay.
No, that was it. I got the 2 clips put together to have everything, but I am going to put these up in their entirety on our second channel, but give me a day or 2 to get it done. I just loaded down because I got these 6 parts of accounting videos, and then I've got 6 part of a treasury meeting where Mark Sanderson is talking about.
Plus, you got to edit the video I did last night too.
He did a video
I did another video last
night.
Yeah. So our plate's full right now, but we're glad to do it.
My plate is full right now.
Well, hey, now wait a minute. Okay, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, her plate's full. Trust me, her plate's full right now.
But I appreciate all the emails and phone calls and messages. We're doing fine. Working hard, Mike goes to work, works in the hot sun all day, but I'm trying to get all of this stuff done. But yeah, I know these accounting meetings are really hard to listen to and boring, but there are some gems in them. There really is.
And here again, if you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness and you have family that is still Jehovah's Witnesses, you just might be able to use some of this information to help wake them up, or at least get them thinking in different directions.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, knowledge is power.
It is.
Knowledge
really
is very, very powerful. And that's what Watchtower fears the most. They fear knowledge and they fear information.
Yeah.
Especially when it's leaked.
Well, I was going to say, especially when we get hold of actual accounting meetings where they're talking about how bad off they are.
Yeah, and from 2015 till today, it doesn't appear that anything has changed.
If nothing else, I'm thinking it has actually gotten worse. Gotten worse. So I look forward, now that I have speakers, of listening to the 2018 Treasury meeting now.
Yeah.
The Treasury Department meeting.
Yeah.
I'll get it straight. It's been a long day.
Yes, it has.
So thank you, everybody, for watching. Welcome to all you new subscribers. And thank you to all our old subscribers. Thank you for watching and inviting us into your home. We really appreciate it. We love you. Bye.
Bye.